Hello and welcome. You're watching Morning Markets on Money9. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is where you get all the key updates you need to begin your trading day right. चलिए इसी के साथ शुभारंभ हो चुका है इस हफ्ते के ट्रेडिंग सत्र का। सबसे पहले आपको बताते हैं कि पिछले हफ्ते का ट्रेड किस तरीके से रहा, साथ ही आपको ये भी बताएंगे कि आज के इंटरनेशनल क्यूज क्या संकेत दे रहे हैं। अगर आप देखेंगे तो पिछले हफ्ते जो मिक्स्ड क्लोजिंग हुई है बेंचमार्क इंडिसेस की, उसमें आपको ये दिखेगा कि फ्लैटिश टू पॉजिटिव बायस के साथ सेंसेक्स बंद हुआ 51,544 के लेवल्स पर, केवल 12 अंकों की बढ़त थी टुवर्ड्स द क्लोज। अगर आप निफ्टी 50 की बात करेंगे तो 15,160 के आसपास के यहां पर क्लोजिंग हुई है, 10 अंकों की गिरावट थी, माइल्ड नेगेटिव क्लोजिंग यहां पर निफ्टी 50 की हुई है। तो एक मिक्स्ड बैग एज फार एज द बेंचमार्क इंडिसेस आर कंसर्न। आउट परफॉर्मेंस निफ्टी बैंक की तरफ से आया 36,108 के लेवल्स पर 356 पॉइंट्स गेन करके, that is around about 1% of jump that we actually saw in Nifty Bank in Friday's trading session. Now remember, the outperformance actually came on the back of the volatility that we had already seen in the previous 2 or 3 trading sessions, but financials have been supporting the markets overall. Now when you see the performance in both the benchmark, the broader market indices, say mid cap, and also the small cap indices, again you can actually see there's a mixed bag trade that actually happened on Friday's trading session. 19,911 for the BSE mid cap index at the closing level of about 12 points gain. Now the small cap index actually lost about 4 points on Friday's trading session and closed with a mild negative on Friday's trading session as well. So more consolidation is something that we have been seeing. The entire last week's trade was a mixed bag when it comes to trade. Some days were highly volatile, some days were actually, when we saw the benchmark indices, ended in the red as well, including the mixed bag that we actually saw on Friday. Remember, the FIIs have also turned mild sellers as of Friday's trading session. Both the DIIs and FIIs actually sold in Friday's trading session as well. So we are seeing, after they have been net buyers for consecutive 2 or 3 odd months, and strong buying has happened thereof. So we'll just have to see whether after the budget, which did provide a fresh impetus to the markets, and of course the RBI policy, earnings also have been largely very well in line with the estimates of markets. And also when you see on most accounts, they've also beat the street estimates as well. They also provided a fresh trigger to the markets as well, providing the fundamental support that they need for all the companies, and that is across the sectors that we have seen this time around. We need to see now which will be the fresh triggers that the markets will be really reacting on from here on, or will it be more consolidation phases that we will see from here on or not. Moving on to indications from across the globe. Now, when you see the US markets, again, the record run really continues for the Wall Street, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ both eking out record highs with modest gains of about 0.5% on Friday's trading session. 14,095 as the closing level for the NASDAQ, 3,934 as the closing level for the S&P 500 as well. If you also see the Dow Jones, that also ended mildly in the green with 0.09% of gains on Friday's trading session. So green cues from the US markets per se. Moving on to Asia. Now remember that markets in China, South Korea and Taiwan have remained closed for the holidays. However, Japan is open. We will just show you that Nikkei has been trading with a positive gain of about 1.5% in trade. Nikkei climbed over 1% despite the data showing the country's recovery from its worst post-war recession that actually slowed and showed down in the fourth quarter as well. Now Nikkei has been showing a bit of a buck-up trend for the Asian markets in today's trading session as well. Moving on to what kind of an indication do we get for the Indian markets, that is, if you look at the SGX Nifty, that's also trading up about 0.5% in trade today, 84 points of a gain, 15,242 is the current level. So we may expect a near record opening yet again for the Indian markets in today's trading session as well. So that's as far as the indications that we are getting from the global markets. But if you talk about the money market right now, the rupee has been trading at 72.76 against the dollar. That's mildly in the green of about 0.15% gains that we saw in Friday's trading session. We'll just have to see what kind of a range do we see in today's trading session as well. However, the rupee has been trading in a tight range in the entire last week as well, and no fresh triggers that would indicate any volatility for the rupee in today's trading session as well. Moving on to crude check. Now, also when you see the crude has been continuing its run, or the the run that we had seen in the last 8-9 trading session. It did halt for a bit on Friday's trading session, but again, Brent crude is now above $63.5 to barrel. That's up about 2% in trade. The WTI crude is also up about $60.77 to the barrel. That's over 2% uptick for the crude. So what is pushing the crude oil prices at these levels? Remember, this is the highest level of crude oil that we had seen since January of 2020, or January 20th of 2020. So this kind of a level we are seeing after over a year, currently. And what's pushing the oil prices is the hopes on the US stimulus, the demand coming back, normalization taking place, and the vaccinations also easing the lockdown restrictions in major parts of the world as well. All of them together really working in favor of the oil prices. Now, what has this turned into is that there has been a consistent uptick in the fuel prices in the domestic markets. They are at record highs again. If you see the petrol and diesel prices, they were hiked for the 7th straight day on Monday, taking the fuel prices to record highs today again. Now, the petrol prices were hiked by 26 paisa today to close at or to trade at around 88.99 rupees per litre, while the diesel prices also have soared to over 79.35 paise per litre, rupees per litre as well. Now, when you see, this has also been a jump up in the diesel prices as well. So if you see the record high prices, now that is going to be a pinch down factor for the common man, but we really have to see whether there's any kind of easing on the taxes that the government will do as and when we inch towards these record high levels of closer to 90, 95. In some of the cities, if you see Mumbai, for example, the petrol prices have now inched closer to even 95 rupees. So we'll just have to see how the government really moves on to that as well. Moving on to the macro update. Now, remember on Friday, we did get some macro data with respect to the CPI inflation, that's the retail inflation. Now, that has eased to over 4% in January. The IIP has also grown to about 1% in December. Now, this is really positive, क्योंकि अगर आप देखेंगे तो लगातार दूसरे महीने हमने ये देखा है कि रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन जो है वो आरबीआई की जो बैंडविड्थ है 4% प्लस और माइनस 2% का जो बैंडविड्थ उन्होंने इन्फ्लेशन के लिए अपने लिए रखा हुआ है, उसी बैंडविड्थ के अराउंड ही रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन दूसरे लगातार महीने में आई है जनवरी में. अगर आप आईआईपी की बात करेंगे तो ये एक लैग के साथ आता है. 2 महीने के पहले का आपको डेटा मिल रहा है. अभी आईआईपी जो है 1% तक के हिसाब से बढ़ा है. रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन अगर आप देखेंगे तो 16 महीनों के निचाई पर अभी अगर आप देखेंगे तो इस निचले लेवल पर छू चुका है. वेजिटेबल प्राइसेस में जो ईजिंग ऑफ आया है उसकी वजह से आपको रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन में ये इंपैक्ट दिखा है. वहीं अगर आप आईआईपी के बारे में बात करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली यहाँ पर भी कुछ चेयर जरूर देखने को मिला है. एक रिकवरी जो है वो आउटपुट फॉलोइंग में देखने को मिल रही है. तकरीबन अगर आप देखेंगे नवंबर के महीने में हमने देखा था कि 2% तक का डिक्लाइन था आईआईपी में. वहीं थोड़ा पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट हमने देखा कि दिसंबर के महीने में था, लेकिन उससे भी स्ट्रॉन्गर अब डेटा आ चुका है अगर आप देखेंगे दिसंबर के महीने में, और वो काफी पॉजिटिव जरूर नजर आ रहा है. और ये जो रीबाउंड है ज्यादातर अगर आप देखेंगे तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोडक्शन में जरूर देखने को मिला है, और यहाँ से जो सपोर्ट आ रहा है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को भी सपोर्ट देखने को मिला है. और आगे जाते हुए देखना होगा कि कितना और तेजी से, जिस तरीके से अब नॉर्मलाइजेशन बढ़ रहा है इकोनॉमी में, कितना और तेजी से आईआईपी में जो प्रोडक्शन लेवल्स हैं वेरियस सेक्टर्स के और कितने बेहतर होते हुए नजर आते हैं, इन सभी के बारे में भी आपको लगातार जानकारी देते रहेंगे. और अब बात कर लेते हैं कुछ स्टॉक्स की जहां पर आपको आज नजर रखनी है. हालांकि अब रिजल्ट सीजन ऑलमोस्ट ओवर हो ही चुका है. अगर आप देखेंगे कुछ कंपनियां जिन्होंने फ्राइडे को और ओवर द वीकेंड ये जो रिजल्ट्स पोस्ट किए हैं उसमें दीपक नाइट्राइट के नंबर पर आप जरूर नजर रखिए. कंसोलिडेटेड प्रॉफिट 216 करोड़ का था Q3 FY21 में, और ये 156 करोड़ से बढ़कर आए हैं साल दर साल. रेवेन्यू में भी अगर आप देखेंगे तो बढ़ोतरी देखने को मिली है. 1100 करोड़ के आसपास से जो रेवेन्यू क्लॉक इन हुआ था पिछले साल इसी क्वार्टर में 1230 30 करोड़ तक के आसपास का इस बार रेवेन्यू क्लॉक इन हुआ है। तो दोनों ही फ्रंट्स पर पॉजिटिव इंडिकेशन है। हालांकि वीकनेस थी दीपक नाइट्राइट के काउंटर में फ्राइडे के सेशन में। आज देखना होगा कि यहां पर इन नंबर्स के बिहाफ पर थोड़ा बहुत रिकवरी जरूर देखने को मिलती है या नहीं। आगे बढ़े तो एक और स्टॉक के ऊपर नजर डालिए और ये है दिलीप बिल्डकॉन का स्टॉक। अब याद रखिए कि 3% तक के आसपास की गिरावट हमने पिछले ट्रेडिंग सेशन में यहां देखी थी। कंसोलिडेटेड प्रॉफिट अगर आप देखेंगे 182 करोड़ का है और ये 88 करोड़ से बढ़कर नजर आया है ईयर ऑन ईयर बेसिस पे। तो स्ट्रॉन्ग अपटेक अगर आप देखेंगे बॉटम लाइन में जरूर देखने को मिल रही है। वहीं रिफ्लेक्शन अगर आप देखेंगे तो रेवेन्यूज में भी है। 2500 ऑड करोड़ रुपीस के जो रेवेन्यूज क्लॉक इन हुए थे पिछले साल इसी क्वार्टर में, अब 2746 करोड़ तक के यहाँ पर रेवेन्यूज क्लॉक इन हुए हैं। तो यहाँ पर भी रिफ्लेक्शन आपको पॉजिटिव इंडिकेशन देखने को मिल सकता है दिलीप बिल्डकॉन के काउंटर पर आज के ट्रेडिंग सेशन में। वहीं सीडीएसएल के काउंटर पर जरूर नजर रखिए। 4% तक के आसपास की तेजी हमने पिछले ट्रेडिंग सेशन में भी देखा था। अब कंपनी इंडिया की पहली डिपॉजिटरी बन गई है जिसने 3 करोड़ एक्टिव डीमैट अकाउंट्स भी खोले हैं और इसी की वजह से सेंटिमेंटल बूस्ट आपको आज के ट्रेडिंग सेशन में भी स्टॉक प्राइस पर देखने को मिल सकता है। साथ ही अगर आप देखेंगे तो कुछ और स्टॉक्स पर भी अगर हम नजर डालें तो मैज़गॉन डॉक का शिप बिल्डर्स पर आपको नजर रखनी होगी। यहां पर भी नतीजों के बिहाफ पर आपको देख सकते हैं कि कोई ना कोई रिएक्शन जरूर देखने को मिलेगा। 3.25% तक के हिसाब से वीकनेस हमने पिछले ट्रेडिंग सेशन में देखी थी, लेकिन कंपनी ने जो प्रॉफिट क्लॉक इन किए हैं 141 करोड़ के हैं Q3 FY21 में, एज अगेंस्ट 208 करोड़ रुपीस प्रॉफिट दैट वाज क्लॉक्ड इन Q3 of FY20. Now remember there's a downtick when you see on a year-on-year basis when the bottom line is concerned. The revenue has also fallen short from 1800 crore rupees to about 1400 crore rupees in this year's same quarter. So you can actually see some bit of an extension of the decline that you were actually able to see on Friday's trading session on this counter as well. Moving on to Siemens, that from the capital goods major. Now remember there was a sharp uptick on Friday. About 12% uptick is what we had seen. Now the company has reported a consolidated profit of about 295 crore rupees in December quarter as against 265 crore rupees that was clocked in December 2019. Now remember the revenue has also risen to 2925 crore rupees from 37 crore rupees. Now this is again something that you really need to watch out for. We'll just have to wait and watch whether after such a sharp uptick the numbers will also have some add-on effect in today's trading session or not. Let's move on and see from the real estate space. Sobha will be in limelight again on the back of the numbers that it has posted. It posted a consolidated profit of about 21.6 crore rupees in Q3, and that's again a down, from 73 odd crore rupees that it had clocked in the same quarter last year. So that is likely to impact the stock prices even in today's trading session. The revenues have also fallen from 883 crore rupees to 684 crore rupees. So both the top line and the bottom line have been hit in Q3 FY20. So that's something we'll just have to see whether these numbers are sustainable or not and what the commentary of the management has really said about the outlook. If the outlook is positive, you may see some reversal, but otherwise the numbers are painting a bleak picture as far as the top line and the bottom line is concerned. Now the IPO update from the primary market space, there's going to be another buzzing action. You need to keep in mind Nureka Limited from the small cap space is going to be opening its IPO today. The IPO will open today and the company has fixed a price band of about 396 to 400 rupees per share. So we'll just keep an eye out on this one and keep you give you all the updates on what kind of a subscription are we seeing on this counter as well. Now let's move on to the stock recommendations for the day. For today's trading session, we've got stock picks from Rohit Singre from LKP Securities. He bets on Cummins India, but that's on a short side. You can keep a stop loss of 740 and a target price of 760 on this counter as well. Let's move on and just see what are the other numbers that they are betting big on. Rohit Singre has also recommended Canfin Homes. Now remember, it's a 5.5% uptick that we had seen for the counter. The stop loss he can keep on the stock is 505 with a target price of 535 on the upside as well. Moving on to another counter, Brigade Enterprises is another counter that he's betting big on. You can actually buy this counter for today. Stop loss you need to keep on this stock would be around 285 rupees with a target price of 300. So there's a strong uptick that you can see from the current market prices. Moving on to another recommendation, and that comes from Milan Vaishnav. Alkyl Amines is a buy call from him. There's an uptick of about 0.5% that we saw in yesterday's trading session. The stop loss you need to keep on the stock would be 52.10 with a target price of 5600. So there's a strong upside again that you can see on this counter over the next few days to come as well. Moving on, Tata Consultancy Services. Remember, the counter was down about 0.5% in the last trading session, but there's a buy on this one with a stop loss of 3130 that you need to come on the stock. And Milan really sees 3350 kind of targets on this counter as well if you need to take a bet on the IT stocks, that is. And The last stock that he has recommended is from the power space, and that's Torrent Power. If you see, there was a 1.5% downtick in yesterday's trading session or on Friday's trading session. The stop loss you need to keep on the stock would be 325 with a target price of 360 as well. So there you have it, 6 calls for you to start your profitable trading session as well. We'll keep giving you all the opening action as well as far as the markets are concerned. So do stay tuned with us on Money9. There's a whole lot of action that's planned for you on this show.